Many countries are easing their rules on quarantine for arriving travelers, and that includes South Korea, so there are big expectations for a recovery in the travel industry. Some countries have even done away with testing. South Korea is one that is still using PCR tests, but there are growing calls for that to change. Rae-hyun has more.
Countries are easing restrictions on international travel. South Koreans can currently enter 39 countries without needing to quarantine. For the UK and Mongolia, there are no entry restrictions, quarantines, or PCR tests at all. And the same applies to fully vaccinated travelers who are entering France, Germany, Canada, and the Netherlands. Thailand will be applying the same policy starting from April 1st. Travelers to Singapore no longer need to take a PCR test or quarantine when entering the country, but they still need to take a PCR test before departure. South Korea is also slowly starting to ease measures. Starting last week, fully vaccinated travelers no longer need to quarantine on arrival. And from the start of April, South Korea is also getting rid of its circuit breaker measure. Under this measure, if more than 5 passengers on a flight test positive on arrival, Korea suspends that specific flight route for 2 to 4 weeks. As a result of the more relaxed measures, overseas travel is picking up. According to Incheon International Airport Corporation, 46,900 travelers passed through the airport from Friday to Sunday last week, an increase of around 17% from the same period a week earlier. But Korea's airline industry says the government needs to remove restrictions on the number of international flights that domestic airlines can fly. Korean Air is planning 7 more flights per week from next month, while Asiana Airlines will be increasing flights to 5 locations and resuming flights to Hawaii and Nagoya. One official says further practical efforts are needed to make travel easier.
An average of 3 or 4 PCR tests are needed for South Koreans who want to travel abroad. 2 tests for each departure and arrival. It's not only stressful for travelers, but also cost a lot, around $120 for each test.
The official added as quick antigen tests are more time and cost-effective than PCR tests, accepting negative results of quick antigen tests should be permitted for travelers' convenience. Rae-hyun, Arirang News.